Hello, today I've been to a rally, manifestation, whatever you want to call it, in favor of, against the bombing of Gaza Strip. That's food for another video. I understood many things, speaking with people who think differently, not because I want a bombing. No, I don't want it, just I was there for that reason. From other points of view, they're a far cry from what I think. But that's, as I said, another kettle of fish. I want to speak about conversation exchange and many problems that people who are serious about learning foreign language it doesn't necessarily mean people who are obsessed. Serious, they want to do the right way. They want to acquire the right pronunciation. They want to learn from mistakes, and they do their homework. Means I see some people who have serious problems in the language they are learning, and they should be upfront. I still make stupid mistakes. I don't know. I think that if you've been following a good method and then another method, and then you in time, little by little, you become quite proficient. Doesn't mean that you know everything. My way of facing learning a language, now learning Russian, is one step at a time. Follow your textbook. Learn whatever you have to learn thoroughly, like the palm of your hand. Listen past 70% of the time you devote to acquiring the new language listening. Obviously, you need a method with an audio part. Don't be casual. YouTube. There is no quality material on YouTube. There is quality material. They don't upload it on YouTube. They get paid for that. There is material that can be interesting. This material can be quality if you are on a certain level that you can make the most of what you hear. But starting from scratch, you still need a paper textbook with good, that is done according, that has been yes, done according to the new development of language learning. Okay, that means it should be in a context, should be gradual, and should present you the grammar not before the usage, and after the fact the grammar. The most common is assimil. No method is perfect. Some assimil are better for some languages. Obviously, if the language is quite common, it's more likely that the method has been written better, because there's more money involved and there is more feedback and things like that. Bigger languages like Russian have also a secondary a second book about where you are supposed to be proficient, become proficient. Obviously, in time, you better buy a secondary book. Okay, sometimes you get in a rut. You quite, you know, you want to branch out. Now I'm using this. When I will be I don't know, half the way through the book, 6 months, 8 months, I would go downtown in Rome and see what they have in stores for me. There is a Russian bookstore in Rome, or bookshop as you want, if they don't close because they are racist, or Russian, I don't know how to pronounce Russophobe. When it comes to language change, first of all, it's very difficult to have language exchange on a par, on this even when you are a beginner and the other is not. So the other person should be able really to make things very simple for you, understand your level or lack of, and use realia, objects, situations, and make you find yourself in a situation like a newcomer in a new country. Cup, big cup, smaller cup, big cup. In Greek, Flizzani, megalo Flizzani, micro Flizzani, cutalia, posa, ena, dio, tria, tessera, tessera cutalia, inesto micro Flizzani, tessera cutalia, inesto megalo Flizzani, telefono, to telefono in sto Flizzani, to telefono in sto allo. You can do that you can learn a lot of things. First you learn like a baby what you can see, what you can make sense of, and in the meantime you get familiar with the pronunciation as a side effect. Okay? I usually prefer for quite a long time have the person be focused on learning other than speaking. Why? You need some to lay the groundwork to get the lay of the land of the language you're learning before opening your mouth. Why? Because there are languages, and most of the languages have sounds that you are not familiar in your language. If you already know 2 or 3 languages, it's very likely that most of the sounds of the new language you already know by cross learning, but not necessarily so if you learn, I don't know, Chinese, Arabic. In this case, listening before speaking is even more important. I know this is counterintuitive, but you really need time. And now I starting to say things in Russian that after 1 month, single words or repeat that don't sound completely wrong. Do they sound good? No. Do they sound completely wrong? No. But at least they don't sound completely wrong. Sometimes they sound completely wrong. Now my focus is on being able to learn the lesson and lesson I'm studying, to progress steadily but constantly, not to give up, and to like the process. I'm starting to like at the beginning. I didn't like, so it takes 3 months to stabilize yourself, and sometimes you better quit. What? Maybe you don't like the language. There are some other languages you like better. There are some cultures that you like better. I like Russia. I've been thinking about that for months. There has been a build-up of interest inside me for the language. Then I mustered my courage. Okay, let's go the whole hog. Let's buy the book. Let's buy the audio parts, the CDs, and let's dig in. Buckle down. And as speaking, I should upload another video where is maintenance of language you already know, or improvement. of the knowledge, speaking more fluently, fluently. Even I make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, and then there's food for another video. So, concerning language exchange, sounds easy. It's not easy. There are a lot of ifs. It's iffy. First of all, offer and demand. What language do you speak as a native speaker? What language do other people seek? For example, if you speak Estonian and you want to learn, let's say, Portuguese, European Portuguese from Portugal, it's unlikely that you find the right person. So many people pass off as native speakers of another language, Estonian or Russian. Okay, I am sure there are people who are real native speakers of Russian, who are of Russian stock and live in Estonia. Think that many countries have this negative attitude towards Russia, but when they need, they pass off as native speakers, because that's why I don't deal with Ukrainians or other things, because there's still hate towards Russia. I have some deeply set opinion about what's going on, and this situation is very extreme. I don't find the right word in English. People have extreme opinions about that, and since the situation involved the killing of thousands of people on both sides, more on the Ukrainian side, to tell the truth. But anyway, no, it's not possible. You should have just a technical thing. In the long run, unless you have two people who are very focused and are very professional, and they're really motivated, they want to learn the language of each other, and they put aside differences, sooner or later our own opinions will come up, and there would be a problem in this period. So find the right person who learns your own language. In my case, okay, there are many Russians who want to learn Italian. I don't think in proportion there are as many Italians, considering the population and percentage, who want to learn Russian, which is, by the way, much more important in the world and much more spoken than Italian. But I also speak English. So I'm in a good position to have many chances. Obviously, I live in Italy. In spite of the fact I speak fluent English, I could say I'm a native speaker. I'm almost a native speaker, but to tell the truth, I live in Italy. Even if I were a native speaker, and in a way I was a native speaker, living decades in another country, it's a problem. If you want to be perfect, okay? I mean, I can perfectly teach. I've been teaching, but up to a certain level. Say, person one, I want to know the last jargon, the last slang. I don't know it. Sometimes I speak English, British English, American English. I don't know what kind of if the word I'm using is really American or British. Sometimes I have blanks. Sometimes I don't know. But I am more able to teach. I'm more aware of the language. That's sure. I could really teach English to Italians without using Italian, but knowing Italian helps me out in the process of teaching. I think languages, you can be somebody who helps. Languages are not really taught. You can check the progress of the person, give him or her good strategies, motivate, and the fact that he's going to speak with you and you are so-called professional makes him more or her more motivated. But most of the work you do on your own. I don't have. Moreover, there is problem of time zone. Russia is not very far from here. It's at least 2 hours. They are 2 hours later. But Russia is 11 time zones. So up to 3 hours is manageable. Then it's very difficult. Very difficult. And mainly if we are both pensioners, okay, we can make it. But we are not. It's a problem. The problem is it's very difficult to manage language exchange if one is a beginner, the other one is not. For many reasons, you don't have to go about doing that. You cannot have an exchange half an hour. I speak my language, you speak yours, and then I speak yours, you speak mine. There are a lot of variation. You speak yours, I speak mine. I speak yours, you speak mine. We both speak the same, and then we switch to the other language. So we both speak my language, and we both speak your language. Okay, that makes things more variated, and maybe in a way it could work. But most people don't have a lot of time. And if you're a beginner like I am, I think that my learning time is it's better assigned if I have my recordings, my book, and I like it. I like Casimir, I like reading it, I like listening to it. And for passive, yeah, there are a lot of websites where it will take at least 6 months time to make the most of what I see on the web, because otherwise I don't have a dictionary, I don't have anything. I should have a paper dictionary. Then I was saying about language change. Some people have 20 languages or 11 languages or 6 languages. Not possible. They have time for you because they have to split the time among all these languages. They most likely don't speak all of them and are not very motivated. You cannot be motivated to learn 6 languages at the same time. So the time zone, the difference in learning, difference level, being serious. 6 languages, 8, 10, I see sometimes 12 languages. That's not possible. Different approach. I have a practical approach. Some people want to. How is it Italian? If you don't have to spell Italian for the most time, it means that you don't understand the words. So your problem is listening. You cannot write if you cannot detect the sound I'm using speaking. And so I want to tell you that the problem is not writing. Italian is very, very phonetical, not 100%, but 99%. It is phonetical. If you cannot spell Italian because you cannot, your mind hasn't pigeonholed all the sounds, hasn't have the right cases, the right holes for each and every sound. That's very important. When you learn a foreign language, you should very clear to you that sound, and that the sound distinguishes one word from another word. Sometimes in Italian we have s, they don't distinguish a word from another word. It's a variation of the same sound. They're called technically allophones. So different approach, practical approach, and cognitive, not cognitive, I don't know, conscious approach. I mean, you actively know the thing. You study and like geography, like history and whatever. Doesn't work for languages. I know you can come. It's something stilted, it's something unnatural, it's something I can tell immediately if somebody has been learning it this way. It sounds so fake. Even an immigrant has been living here for 1 year would speak better. So you should speak at the beginning language like a 3-year-old child or baby 3-year-old child. I mean, very basic things, and words you should know immediately, you should be able to recognize immediately, and you use immediately without thinking. That's good grounds to develop good habits and to develop a language that is, for the most part, natural, even if you're a foreigner. Okay? You can hear foreigners who maybe have an accent, surely have an accent, maybe they make some mistakes, but you can tell they learned the language interacting with native speakers. And why don't you interact with native speakers? Language change. At the beginning, good books with the better approach that what is the right word in English? An approach is as close as possible to the way children learn their first language. Obviously, we are not children. We try to approximate that. I was speaking about that. Children have everything going for them when they learn a foreign language. They don't learn another language, they're not influenced by another language. They are completely immersed in the language they're learning. They desperately need to speak. They cannot speak another language. And they have people around them, parents, relatives, that know how to speak to children. I know adults are different, but in a way, you should approach a person who learns a foreign language like a child. So, even dogs, you can teach things to dogs or to chimpanzees. Yeah, at the beginning, we don't know anything. There are some dogs that are more English than somebody who was never exposed to English. They understand, turn around, sit. I don't know, food, stop. Okay, we didn't teach dogs to do that with textbooks or I don't know, explaining in another language. That means we are able to do that. If a dog can understand those things through our emotions and through other things, a person can. So, who can do that? I can. I have experience. I'm speaking about that. I've been reading about this way of teaching. Obviously, it takes more time to. So I see some people. I really want just to read the word. No, don't go and read translation. Try to understand me. It's longer. It's not effortless as looking up in a dictionary, but it sticks to your mind, and in time you develop a certain insight. Some people lack insight, really. When I show this and say χέρι, ένα χέρι, δύο χέρια, some people get it immediately, some people don't. I don't know why. Don't ask me. They don't. You insist. Obviously, one χέρι and one χέρι, one hand. Χέρι is hand, and ένα means one, and δύο χέρια. Ένα, δύο, τρία. You can teach whatever language you want. You don't need to learn to know the language of the learner, and the learner can be a complete beginner, and he will understand you. Okay? If I say, well, how long it is, I say 3 centimeters. This is 5 centimeters. Long or short, you need sometimes. Having a ruler helps, Having a thermometer helps when you speak about the degrees, or scales when you speak about weight. We can teach a lot of things like this. Most of people have no fucking idea of this. In spite of the fact, every mother, every father, and most of people teach their native language to children, to babies, like this. And then when they're adult, they adopt a completely different way of teaching that is not working. Obviously, even a baby. Okay, a baby has a not so developed mind, but brain, but it takes 1.5 years to start speaking. Why should it be faster? Take your bloody time. Don't be in a rush. Okay? Most of the times, 90% of the times, people learn a language not because they have to go to that country in 2 months' time. And if in 2 months' time, I tell you, you don't learn a language in 2 months. Maybe you can get acquainted if you speak Italian and you have to speak Brazilian Portuguese, or I would say European Portuguese, I would say Portuguese, that's it. Or Spanish, a little bit more difficult with French. But sometimes in 2 months' time, if you don't have a good teacher, and you have to, for example, you want to learn Russian, you can get scared and go to Russia, and when you're scared, your mind closes and you don't learn. The moment you think something is difficult, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, you stop learning. Okay, I've spoken enough. I think there's a lot of the internet. Sorry, I'm not modest. A lot of interesting things. Goodbye.